So a maximum of 1 coordinator to 8 participants. This is what you get in the Speechcraft bundle. It costs $50, 50 US dollars. And what you receive in that bundle, it's an excellent vocal variety video by Mike Carr, the 2020 World Championship of Speaking. And then there's another video that discusses powerful words in your speeches. They're really very good 2 videos that you should listen to. It also gives you a marketing flyer, as you see over there on your left. And so that's what you get with the bundle. But the most important thing you get with the bundle is the access code. What's most important for purchasing the bundle is what you need to know. When I purchased the bundle, there's a lot of information on the portal that provides proprietary information. And as the Speechcraft coordinator, you may download that, make copies of it, and use it for your Speechcraft sessions. And I've done that. However, I am bound by this legal messaging that I cannot reproduce that and hand that out to other Toastmasters and say, oh, by the way, this is what an agenda looks like. By the way, this is the coordinator guide slide that they tell you how to do things. Not allowed to do that. But when you purchase the bundle, you get access to all of that, and you're free to download it and create slides how you wish so that you have it. But you are not allowed to share that material and give it freely to someone else to use. That is proprietary, and that is governed by the Policy 4.0 and Protocol 5.0 and Protocol 8.2 of the governing document. So there's some legal stuff that you need to know when you download that information. The Protocol 5.0 is where it tells you who can sponsor the Speechcraft, and it's only at the club level. Areas and divisions and districts cannot sponsor it at their level. Now, districts have been known to reimburse clubs as incentive to hold the Speechcraft. That's something different, but it's still run by the club. The district leaders are not running it. They're not soliciting the volunteers. You need to know that it's only at the club level that this can be coordinated. The next is, who pays that $50 for the bundle? Number one, it is recommended that it is purchased, if the club has a bank account, to purchase it through the club and through the treasurer. Some corporate clubs don't need a bank account, so they don't have them. In that case, I would still buy the bundle and request reimbursement through the club treasurer, so that the lines are clear as to how the bundle was paid. And it makes sure that you get the reimbursement. You can get reimbursed for the funds. When you solicit non-Toastmasters to come to your Speechcraft, we refer to it as tuition plus cost of materials. And per Toastmasters Protocol 8.2, you can use Speechcraft as a fundraiser for the club. Now, how is that possible? You can charge up to 120 US dollars, which is a year's membership for Toastmasters. How does that go? The bundle is $10 per person. Membership dues are now $60. You charge a membership due of $60, $10 for the cost of the bundle. Some clubs have club fees. You can include that and charge that. What you do with that is you refer to it as the tuition costs. Then, when they finish their Speechcraft, you offer them a 6-month membership in your club. for them to continue to finish the program. Because what it is, it equates to the first 2 levels in pathways. They go through all the projects in the Speechcraft package. It equates that they can enter pathways at level 2. And therefore you give them a 6-month membership fee. That's the way you get to add members to your club. But it's up to you whether you want to charge them that or not. It's not a must, but that is a way you can make money. And you can charge less than the $60 if that's what you wish to do. Now, why would you want to be a coordinator for Speechcraft? I loved it. It's a lot of fun and you meet nice people. But number one, if you're looking to achieve your Distinguished Toastmaster Award, fulfills one of the requirements. You either have to do a Speechcraft or a youth leadership program to check off one of the requirements for your Distinguished Toastmaster Award. There are several other steps involved, but that is one of them. Number 2, you get to improve your own communication and leadership skills by conducting this Speechcraft. It's like project planning. It's great experience. The most important thing about this is you're paying your knowledge forward. You're sharing it with others. You're helping others to improve their public speaking. And if you are currently in the workforce, it looks great on a resume that you put together a Speechcraft. And it can actually count as a project planning project. And the best way to learn any subject matter is to teach it. And you improve your own self-confidence by stepping out of your comfort zone. And believe me, I had to step out of my comfort zone to talk to a bunch of strangers, again, from the time that I first joined Toastmasters, but now I was going to teach them. It's a fun thing to do. Now, I'm going to stop at that point and ask if there's any questions. Does anybody have any questions for what I covered on the first few slides? I want to let you know. Yes, Larry.
Hi, Ann. This is Larry. I'm sorry I was late. I had to re-register to join the club, even though I already got the email that said I was registered already. That's why I was a little late getting on. Question I have is when I ordered the kit and paid for it out of my own pocket, I got several numbers. None of those numbers, when I put them in to activate the kit, worked. Said this is not a valid Speechcraft kit ID number. So there was one number that started with SO dash something. Was that the number that I was supposed to put in? How do I know which number? Yeah.
It's your order number.
So it says, quote, order number.
Order number.
Okay. All right. Let me try it again and see if I can get it up. Also, I found out actually that if you don't wait 24 hours, you don't have access to this thing you bought for like 24 hours. Is that the case?
Right.
Okay, I got you. All right. Thanks,
Right.
Ann.
You're welcome. Gail?
Hi there. Yeah, I have another question. Just to clarify, did you a little bit about the understanding of being able to charge up to $120 per member? Could you do that again?
Yes, I'd be happy to. All right. What you can do is the bundle is $50. And that's actually $10 per Speechcrafter. What you can do is you are permitted to charge the 6-month membership fee of $60, $10 for the bundle. That brings you to $70. Some clubs have club dues. You can charge that. So let's say it's $10 for club dues. So now you're up to $80. So now you're up to $80.
Okay.
And then what you can do is you can offer them that what this tuition includes for them as a 6-month free membership for them to continue, because you're not going to, because the program parallels pathways, the base camp, and once they complete And it depends on the number of sessions that you hold. Let's just say you get through all 7, 8 projects and they complete all speeches. That translates to a level 2 in pathways.
Okay.
That they would get credit for. And that's how you can add members to your club, by offering them a 6-month membership fee to continue. This was wonderful. You learned a lot of information. You are improving. Would you like to continue this and finish this out? And it's not a long-term commitment. It's only for 6 months. And our clubs are communities. And so they grow to like our communities and they stay, but it's a way to get them in the door. Did I
Okay.
answer your question, Gail?
Yes, and I have another one. So when they, if they take advantage of that 6-month free membership, sort of free, they enter at level 3 then. So they
Level 2.
complete, oh, so I thought they completed through level 2. Now you're saying
No, to
they,
level 2 and possibly an elective. Level 2 elective to that.
okay,
And how that would work is your vice president education would contact Toastmasters education and they would confirm, and then they would give them credit in base camp for completing those projects.
okay. Thank you. That answers my question.
Yes, Sally.
I have a question. It's about verbiage for marketing because I'm hearing 2 different things, and I want to be sure as we do market our upcoming Speechcraft for Hilda, Larry, and Jenny, who all of us are attending for this reason. When we market it, are we supposed to say a free membership is available to you, or are we supposed to say included is a 6-month membership? Because I really want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing.
Well, you know what? I like included is a 6-month membership fee. Included is a 6-month membership fee for you to continue to harness your public speaking skills. Because this is just, what's that word I want? Tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Like you're just coming in and getting just a glimpse. And we want to give you the opportunity to finish what you started. So I would say it includes a 6-month membership.
Thanks, Ann. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And there's one thing I want to bring up because I clarified it today and I just thought of it today. The portal in the Speechcraft portal is on the same platform as Pathways. I asked, and what I asked was, what happens if you're in the middle of the session and they shut down the portal? Because if they shut down Pathways, it's based on the same, it would be logical that they're going to shut down the Speechcraft portal. I was told no word has come through about the Speechcraft portal, even though it makes logical sense. If you're in the middle of a Speechcraft session, I was told that TI would give notification. And the person I spoke with said it would be at least for more than 2 weeks. You would get more than 2 weeks notice so that you could finish up what you needed to do. Because once platform goes down, you're not going to be able to access the platform until after it goes back up with the new platform. So it's all to be determined, hazy, what we deal with in Toastmasters, right? But we can work with it and get around it and get it done. You will still be able to buy the bundle in the store on Toastmasters.org when the platforms go down. You just won't have access to the portal. All right. And if there's questions about that, I'll get into that, some ideas that I have a little bit later on how you can get around that if you are in the middle, or if you're looking to do a Speechcraft, let's say in May, and you want to get it done for the year, I have some ideas on that I can get into a little bit later. Any further questions about purchasing the portal? Peggy Seymour is my Zoom producer, and something got messed up with the link. She is here. She is fiercely putting in PDF documents for you to download. Please do that, because when you save chat, it doesn't save the documents. It will only save the links that she will be putting in, but it won't save the documents. So take advantage of the documents that she has put in the chat and download them. And thank you, Peggy, and I'm sorry about the mishap. And if there's no further questions about that portion of the presentation, I will go back to the presentation, which is beginning with slide 10 and 11. So let me do that. And slide 11 starts with 12. We'll start with planning. What's involved in planning your Speechcraft event? What is it that you need to know as a Speechcraft coordinator? What I put up here is a timeline so that you have a visual. And this is based on the 8-week timeline. If you read about Speechcraft, that it recommends 6 to 8 weeks before you have your session, what you need to do. And it does take that long to prepare, to get yourself set up and ready to have a successful Speechcraft. And this is based on starting a Speechcraft at the end of January this year. I would have had to start at the end of November last year. You do need at least those 2 months to get everything together that you need to get together in order to hold the Speechcraft session. I don't know about you, but I like learning new things and I like researching. And when I got to the portal, it was like opening up a candy jar, and I had my selection of what I wanted to look at first. And I couldn't find out what I wanted to do first. Oh, I'm a Toastmaster enthusiast, so I just love that. So I just want to let you know, go full in with your enthusiasm and you're going to just love it. You're like 6 to 8 weeks, that's a long time. But what you don't realize is you're not doing everything every day for long hours. You need to plan. Number one, this can be broken down into a 4-week, a 6-week, or an 8-week session. And that truly depends upon your availability and what your participants, your clientele is looking for. Let's face it, if you're working with a commerce department in your local town and their executives, they don't have time for an 8-week course. You're going to do the 4-week course and they're going to love it because it's quick, it's moving, and it gets them what they need. And a lot of times they're coming because they have a big presentation. But don't forget, you're selling yourself, your club, and Toastmasters to these groups while you're doing this Speechcraft. The benefits for your club is endless when you think about it. Number two, you need to set a schedule for your workshop. That means, are you going to do it every week? Going to do it every other week? And what days and times are you going to have it? Will you conduct it during meetings? And there's something else you have to think about if you do that. You may have to extend the time of your meetings to do this during your meetings. Will your session be 1 or 2 hours? And you need to establish the tuition cost, which I spoke about. And you need to review all Speechcraft rules and regulations so that you understand what your responsibility and what your responsibility is to the proprietary information. And the important thing about the sessions and the weeks that you choose. Speechcraft is based on the educational materials based on an 8-week session. So naturally, if you hold a 4 or 6-week session, you have less time. You have to decide what subject matters you are going to cover. You only have a 1 hour, that's going to cut down your time. You won't get as many speeches in. So this is what you have to work out in your mind, your time schedule. Recruiting volunteers. I'm quite, how do you recruit volunteers? I have a hard time getting volunteers. Well, number one, what volunteers do you need? As I said in the beginning, you need a Speechcraft guide, one per Speechcrafter. You could get away with one Speechcraft guide for 2 Speechcrafters if you had to. But the ideal situation is to share the experience with the members in your club. They can be Speechcraft guides. If they've done 1 or 2 speeches, they can be your Speechcraft guides and teach the Speechcrafters about what it takes to write a speech, to give them guidance on it, and how a meeting is conducted. What about these educational presentations? Who gives them? You want your most experienced Toastmasters to give those educational presentations? Again, members in your club. And if you don't have enough members in your club, what's your network of influence in Toastmasters? Who outside your club do you know? Who outside your club do you know in your district? Reach out to your area directors, your division directors, even the top 3, and they may know someone. And what I found for myself is by visiting several clubs, being a member in several clubs, that increased my network. So I wasn't confined to just my one club to recruit people to help me with the Speechcraft. The other thing you want to think about, what Toastmasters do you know that can benefit from doing this? It's only the coordinator that can get credit for their DTM project. If you buy 2 bundles, see if there's another Toastmaster in your club that could use that for their DTM and let them be a coordinator. But your educational presenters, they can use that for their Pathways projects. Find the Pathway project to align it. And how do they get credit? Have someone evaluate them. Evaluate them. And then, you know the beauty of that? So you have a Toastmaster evaluate the presenter, or in the beginning, the Toastmaster evaluates the Speechcrafters for their first speech. And if they need to evaluate the evaluator, have someone give them a written evaluation of their evaluation. That's how you move along in your pathways. That's how you complete so many paths. I've on my 8th path or 9th path, and I bought the last 2. That's how you move along and complete so many paths. And then you need a table topics master, a general evaluator. And I'm going to show you how how do I keep track of my volunteers? I created a spreadsheet, and it's a validation spreadsheet. So on the second tab, I created a role validation, and I listed all the roles in column A, all the dates of my session in column C, and the educational presentation topics come from the Better Speaker series, by the way, and we will be sharing that with you in a minute. And these are the topics for each of the 8 sessions. And as you can see, selecting a speech topic, introducing a speaker, organizing a speech, getting to the point, that's part of it. And they all align with level 1. And the vocal variety and body language, I combine that into one speech for the Speechcrafters because that's the way it is in Pathways. And it eliminates an extra speech for them. All right, so that was my validation role sheet. And then on the first page, I had who my functionary were, and they could come and they could pre-select their date. And from the drop down, they could select their meeting role and what presentation they were doing. And I shared this as a link with all the volunteers so they could just come in and select when they could come and participate. It was a way to give them freedom to set up their schedule. And if they want to come back multiple times, they could. This is marketing a Speechcraft series. Cheryl Rouse just completed one Super Bowl Sunday in District 10. District 61. She has another one coming up in District 10 on February 21st. It is a worthwhile seminar. It's a worthwhile presentation to go to. She is just phenomenal in going through her presentation on how to market a Speechcraft series, but you also pick up tips on how to market your club. And this is the registration, and Pamela will be dropping that in the chat for you so you can download that link and register for the session that's coming up in a couple of weeks on February 21st. With that, I'm going to stop sharing. Did her Speechcrafters join? Who's Speechcrafters?
The lady
This is-
that you just showed, the Cheryl Roush.
Right, yes. Yes, she does the marketing presentation on how you can market your Speechcraft sessions.
Okay,
And the great thing that she has is she tells you, instead of calling it an open house, to call it a free seminar. Thank you, Peggy. Peggy is, I must have mispronounced her name or called her by something else. Dyslexia, I think. I apologize. Her name is Peggy Seymour. I called her Pamela. That's because I work with Pamela. All right. So anyway, let me get back on track here.
I have a question, Ann, before you get too far gone. It's Amy again.
Yes, Amy.
Thank you. I came in a little bit later too, and I apologize
That's
for that
okay.
as well. But I don't know if you went over, I know how you register for it. I already purchased my bundle, but I seem to have problems like I have the number, but did you go over how to actually get into the portal for the coordinators?
I'm going to, there's a video on that.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right.
All right.
Appreciate
Make
it.
sure you use the order number. It is the
Yes.
order number.
I do have that, but I don't know
All right.
where it is. Okay, thank you.
You should have received an email with a confirmation, and that's your order number. That is your access code to the portal. And if you can't find the email, if you go into your purchase history, the invoice will be there with the order number, and you'll be able to retrieve it.
And I did read that also, but my problem is, oh, there it is. I go right on the coordinate button. I can't figure out where to launch my coordinator portal.
Exactly. So I'm going to show you that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to show you that. All right, so, and what I'm going to show you when I go to the portal, that will show the specific contents of the sessions for you, give you an idea of what to expect. And how do you get participants and how do you enroll them? I will go through that. Are there any questions on what I have covered so far up to slide to Cheryl's marketing? Any questions I can answer?
I don't
Right.
see a slideshow. Is that just me?
Right, I've stopped it because
Okay.
I'm looking to see if anybody has any questions.
Okay, thank you again. Sorry.
Nope, that's fine. Hold a free seminar, I told you that. How do you get the Speechcrafters on the portal? You do that as the coordinator. You will add them as the participants in the portal. That's how they get into the portal. And then they will get an email from TI that they have to sign in, just like if you get a new member and you give them, and they have an ID code and you pay them, and, oh, welcome, come on, you have to sign in. They have to sign in and register. You add them, but they're not registered until they physically sign into the portal, respond to that email, and register for the session. And then they're registered. And as far as marketing is concerned, if you're going to do this, I would market as often as you can, every week. 6 to 8 weeks out, you're having this, you want to get people to come in and be part of the Speechcraft. It's what I do when I market my webinars. I constantly market different times of the day because there's different time zones in the country on Toastmasters.org, Toastmasters Facebook, resource Toastmasters in the different districts. So you host your event at different times so that you hit the different groups and the different time zones. And you can get people to come in and be participant of your Speechcraft. Because if you're a hybrid club, why not take advantage of being hybrid and getting someone from another state to come and join your club? Why restrict it to your little town, like my little town of Ben Sound? Why should I restrict it to that? I might not get as much interest, whereas if I stretch out broader, I have more of an opportunity. I'm hitting more people who may be interested. Yes, Gail, you have a question.
Yes. From what you're saying, it came to mind, like, if somebody wants to join after you've had the first couple of sessions, is that advisable or?
Let them finish the Speechcraft, yes, and let them join.
I mean, oh, okay, so,
Right.
so if you're into like the third session out of 8 sessions.
Let them finish the Speechcraft.
Okay,
Because they're going to get more opportunity to speak in the Speechcraft. Because you have a
Okay.
group of 5, they're going to be speaking every time you meet, whether it's once a week or every other week. They're going to have the availability to speak more often. And they will also get comfortable in taking on the meeting roles because eventually they evaluate each other. After the first meeting, after they do their icebreakers and you have seasoned Toastmasters showing them how to evaluate, from the second meeting on, you have them evaluate their peers. That's how they learn.
Okay.
And then the guides are there to support them and mentor them on how to do it and give them suggestions on how to improve their evaluations. You'd be surprised how comfortable they become doing it. And they're not bad at it at all for being non-Toastmasters. You know what you like when you hear someone speak? And you know if you have a question after they're done speaking? And basically that's what an evaluation, because the speaker is supposed to leave you with no questions about their speech. If you think about it that way.
okay. And I have another question. Is the Speechcrafter chair and coordinator, are they the same person?
There's no chair. It's
Okay.
just a coordinator.
And then you mentioned earlier, it's recommended to have 1 coordinator for every 5 students, but Toastmasters allow 1 coordinator for every 8 students. Is that correct?
Maximum,
Maximum.
yes.
Maximum is 8 students?
For 1 coordinator, because
Okay,
you really are more efficient if you keep 1 coordinator to 5. Because
Okay.
as a coordinator, you are in charge of setting up those sessions. You are in charge of walking these Speechcrafters through their portal and making sure that they get done what they need to get done. And so if you have more than 5, I would recommend that you get another coordinator and give them an opportunity to work towards their DTM. And then you would work together. Everybody would come to the same session. It wouldn't be a different session. You can do the 2 sessions together and hold the meeting together. It's just that you would have different coordinators. So you wouldn't have to do different events. It could all be at the one meeting. It's up to you how you want to run it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Right, but Anne, if you wanted to have 8 students, you would have to buy another kit.
Yes,
Okay,
that's correct. Any other questions? Peggy, were there any questions? Did anybody drop any questions in chat while I was speaking that I might have missed?
Nope, no questions.
And I was just gonna say, in reading the materials, it recommends that you have your speech crafters do 3 to 5 speeches, so they don't have to actually do 5 speeches. I'm doing one now that's 8 weeks, and I'm trying, it's corporate, I'm trying to keep it within a lunch break, so it's an hour. And so they're only gonna get to give 3 speeches, but they're also evaluating, they're doing table topics, they're introducing, they're learning everything, but they'll
Right.
only be giving a total of 3 speeches.
That's right. And that's because of the time limit, correct? And I'm
because of the
going to
time
be,
limit. Exactly, exactly.
yep. And I have one coming up and I'm wondering how I was going to do it in an hour. So you gave me hope that I can. And it is for corporate and it's only for 4 weeks. So they won't get
Ooh.
as much in. They won't get as much in, but that's their choice. But we can offer them, if they're interested, to continue to join the club.
You could do breakout rooms as well. So you could have your guides take them into a breakout room and have a couple do speeches in a breakout room to get more done.
Yes, that's a good idea. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. See, I'm still learning. That's right. They don't have to complete all 8. That is not a must. That is the maximum number of speeches there. And if you're doing less, you get to choose the topic that you want to cover, what you want to teach them. And that's, it's all flexible.
And I was just going to mention, I love the Better Speaking series, all of that. I'm using all that. But my first session, I had one of the ladies that's high in my organization talk about the importance of speaking. And then I had somebody do an icebreaker to show them what an icebreaker looks like instead of doing the Better Speaking. But then from now on, we're doing the education sessions. Like,
you see, it's flexible. There's no must have. Toastmasters provides you with the resources and the materials. And you can be flexible enough to adjust it to what you think works best and how you want to proceed. They just give you the resources. Right? Right, Jenny?
right. And they're wonderful. It's wonderful. The resources are great.
And it gives you so much guidance. It really does. And what I like is it's flexible. Use your creativity like Jenny just did. You know, she brought in a speaker from the organization and then she did an icebreaker to show them how it was done. You're free to conduct that. The only thing that's required is there's an education session, table topics, and they do their speeches and there's an evaluation. And a table topic could be, if you have 4 or 5 of them, is just going around and introducing yourself and telling us 1 or 2 sentences about yourself. It doesn't have to be a 1 to 2 minute statement so that you get more speeches in. Just as long as you cover the materials that are required. And there you have table topics and they're learning to speak impromptu because you're asking them a question that they're not expecting. Do you agree, Jenny?
Yes, and I was just going to mention the icebreakers are 2 to 3 minutes, so
Right.
you can cram a lot of icebreakers into if they're only 2 to 3 minutes.
And the other speeches are 3 to 5. They're not 5 to 7. And so they're not as long, therefore you can get more speeches in. And that's the beauty of it. And the idea of having the breakout rooms gives them an opportunity to speak more exactly. Great idea, Jenny. Any other questions before I move on to the resources? All right, let me do that. Now I'm going to move into gathering resources and how to organize. This is a tip that I found that helped some people that couldn't visualize what I was explaining. You may be able, you probably do this already, but it's something that I wanted to share because I approach this as, what do I know? What did I do the first time? How did I organize it? And this is the Better Speaker series on which the topics are based on. And it's free and it's out there on the Toastmasters.org store website. Peggy will be putting the link in chat for you so you can save it. But beginning your speech, that's like the icebreaker speech, right, Jenny? Beginning your speech. And it goes through the steps as to what you need to do and look for. And it's a beautiful series and it's very helpful. And when you have someone present it, there's an outline and everything for the presenter to review and make it their own. These are the resources that I've collected while I've been doing this Speechcraft coordinator training. I received some great resources from Fred Thornbrock out of District 13. He's their current program club growth director. And he developed best practices from attending webinars. He has a Speechcraft event preparation list, which I think you will find helpful. And then my document consists of links and YouTube videos that Toastmasters International has produced to sort of break the ice on what it is the Speechcraft portal is about. And I always include the intellectual property policies and protocols because I think it's important as a coordinator that you know about them. Pamela, there I go again. Peggy will be putting them in the chat. Pamela must be talking about me, Peggy. What did I do to organize my
And
Speechcraft
excuse me a
files?
second, you did not give me the link to I gave them the link to the Better Speaker Series, but you did not provide me with your, the right-hand document.
I did.
No,
That is in, let's see, what slide's this? This is slide. Okay, I will make sure that I get that. All right, that's my fault. All right. I will make sure I get that. And that's slide. All right. I will make sure I get that.
okay. Wait a minute, okay.
Speechcraft portal. All right.
I think I got it.
This is, I created folders on my desktop, basically, in OneDrive. I created a Speechcraft project folder. What I did so that I could keep all the materials for each of the sessions together and I wouldn't confuse them. I was doing 8 sessions. I wanted to make sure that I had the correct materials for each of the sessions because each agenda is different. So I created a folder for each of my sessions and any materials that corresponded to the sessions I put in there. There are Speechcraft coordinator instructions on the portal. There are Speechcraft guides instructions, and there are resources. So I created that so that it would remind me that I needed to share that information with the guides and provide instruction on how the meetings would run and what their responsibilities were as the guides. Okay, she put the total better speaker series in there. That's how I organized it, and it helped me to keep everything straight. I didn't do 4, I did 8. And I could have very easily mixed in the material. And that spreadsheet was my lifesaver or my coordinators that I showed you in creating the validation of who my volunteers were, what their roles were, what meetings they were coming to, what sessions. And it kept everything organized for me so that I knew what my next steps were, who I had to contact for the upcoming and stay in contact with them. That is, if you are organized, it makes everything go easy. And I found that most helpful and useful for me. And I reached out weeks in advance to get my volunteers. Life happens. Sometimes they have to change. I can't make it. They were going to make it. Then I have my other resources that I would reach out to. And some of the Toastmasters liked it so much. One person, Sue Brooks, she came to every session as she could and volunteered and took a role to help me. She just loved it. And sometimes you're going to get people like that, love Toastmasters that much. Any questions on
I have a quick question. I'm sorry. Some of your materials prompted me. On one of them it says, hold a Speechcraft for your club officers. And I'm a part of 2 clubs, the San Angelo club that we're planning a Speechcraft, but I'm part of another club where we have plenty of members, but we just don't have any members that have gotten past level 1. So could we have a Speechcraft for our members to really? Okay, I was just thinking it had to be non-Toastmasters, but we could do it for Toastmasters.
That's exactly right. To get them up to speed on their levels that they need so that, yes.
Thank you.
Definitely. Definitely. That is a great idea. And that's right, Sandra. It's the fast track. You can hold the Speechcraft for your new members as well. And add some of your members that have been around for a few months and haven't, maybe have one or two speeches, and get them speaking, because that's what keeps your members, by having them engage and doing speeches, and they feel like they're accomplishing something because they're getting more confident. And that's right. And that is recommended to do as well. I've been in enough Speechcraft webinars where those ideas have floated, and it's really encouraging to do that. It's your membership drive. It's Talk Up Toastmasters now. Bring them in. It's a way to increase your membership. And if you don't have enough non-Toastmasters, bring in those Toastmasters that you want them to bring their levels up to speed, and have them come into the session and work their speeches, and they can work together. Not only that, now they're making friends with the non-Toastmasters. You're building a community with members, and they're working together. And it's like, oh, those people aren't too bad. They're really helpful. Yeah, I think I like this. I think maybe I will take my free membership and try it and see. Or, it's part of the package. I'm going to take that. I'm going to join the meeting. That's how you grow your membership. Yes, definitely, definitely. And any other questions, Andrea?
So my question is, I've proposed for one of the clubs that has low membership to hold a Speechcraft, and our president is against it. She just wants to have an open house, and she's like, let's just get the members in. That's not the Speechcraft. That's a lot of work. So how do I convince her that this is really the way to sell potential members into coming into the Speechcraft and coming into our club? Because she's kind of like dead set against it. And all the other clubs, because I'm kind of far away, this is the only one that's really hybrid. So how do I convince her and the other club officers that Speechcraft is really the way to go?
You can get new members in, but it's hard to get them engaged in Pathways. Do you have enough mentors for them all? Pathways is a fast track to get them started in their pathways. Get them interested, get them speaking, get them engaged. And that's how they become members, and that's when they stay. How many times do we, during membership drives, we bring in new members, and come June, we're still struggling for that one member to reach our 20th member, or whatever we need to qualify, because they've dropped out and they're not engaged. Think about when you first joined Toastmaster. How long did it take you to get your icebreaker going? Because you were shy and you didn't want to get up and speak in front of these people. Well, now they're in a small group together and they're all speaking together, and it's not so daunting because it's a smaller group. And you get them to speak. It's the fast way to get members on board and to keep them. If you think about Speechcraft being a lot of work, it's more work trying to get disinterested members to be engaged that don't want anything to do with Pathways than it is to get new people who want to take stock of themselves and improve themselves. And it's positive. If we focus on negativity, our members sense it and our visitors sensed it. You don't bring anybody in if they sense there's negativity around the club. If it's too much work for Speechcraft, then it must be too much work to mentor the person, to get them on Speechcraft, because it's a lot easier to teach them Speechcraft than to mentor them for 6 months. Because guess what? They have to do the work and they have to learn real quick. And they're speaking, they're evaluating, and they're doing table topics, and they're the table topics master. They're learning on their feet real quick in that 4-week session. When you mentor a new member, no, I'm not ready for that. Well, I don't feel comfortable. And you're 3 months and you're like, come on, you can do this. You can do this. Speechcraft is the fast track to get them acclimated and feel comfortable. And then they're going to come in and show up your members because they feel comfortable and they're confident in what they know and what they're doing. And they're not going to hesitate to sign up for meeting rules. They could be an inspiration to your members to re-engage. I don't know if that's the answer, but that's the way I look at it. Does anybody else have any advice for her question? Because it was a great question. Jenny?
I think what I love about Speechcraft is, again, I'm in a corporate setting and I had like 40 people that wanted to do it, and I opened it up for 5 people. I sat with every one of them before and said, you were going to do at least 3 speeches. You're going to be there every time. You need to commit. You need to look at your calendar. And so I had their commitments written in blood before they even joined, so that they're doing it, and they're having a blast. We're having it, and they're coming and they're showing up. And that's the difference, because Speechcraft, they're kind of committed to do it. Toastmasters, I'll do it one day, maybe a few months from now. So that's why I love the Speechcraft, because they're doing it and they're learning, and it's fast.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Anybody else have hints for her? No? Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Todd.
I was just going to say that the Speechcraft course, in my opinion, is the missing link. I mean, now that we have pathways, most people show up and they're like, I've got fear and anxiety of putting together a speech, and now you want me to go online and answer a question, and I really have no idea still how to speak. But I think it's the piece that's missing that should be the boot camp or base camp for everybody before they go and pick a path. And actually, I'm a product of Speechcraft. Some 27 years ago, I used Speechcraft to start 5 clubs. I've used it as a fundraiser. I've used it all different ways. And I believe it is probably one of the missing gems that we don't take advantage of. So thanks for putting on the workshop.
I call it the best kept secret in Toastmasters. It's the best kept secret in Toastmasters. It is, if you do it right, your membership will definitely increase. That is how Cheryl Roush became a Toastmaster. It was over 30 years ago, if I remember correctly. And that's what got her in the door. And that's why she stayed. If I could be a Cheryl Roush today, I would say my Toastmaster career was a success. She is just phenomenal. That woman is phenomenal. And Speechcraft is it is. I love it. I love it. That's why I ask everybody to come on screen and use the Speechcraft. And at the end, I'm going to ask for a picture, because this is a DTM project for me, these Speechcraft webinars. And guess what? If you do a Speechcraft, you can put on a webinar in your district and use it as your DTM project. Just make sure you have 2 people on your guidance committee. That's a DTM project. And we can get the word out about Speechcraft even more and blow the roof off of membership over the next couple of years. Because even at $60, $10 a month, it's the best deal going. If there's no more questions, I did drop a zip file. Let me know if you can download it and open it. If not, I'll open it on my computer and try to do it that way. Those are the handouts for slide 19, which were the best practices, the Speechcraft worksheet, and my handout of links. And so if you can't open it, I will download it again and put it in there. Let me see where I'm at on my slide presentation. It probably is the video. So let me see. Yes, now we're going to go to the Gateway portal. And this is going to be a video. You'll see me up in the corner. There'll be a video that I'm playing, and it's going to start. I probably have to, let me stop sharing. Let me hit share. Share sound. Let's see if it'll play. Speechcraft coordinator, that you have that material, because you're responsible for supplying your Speechcraft guides. the educational presenters, as well as the table topics, because the table topics is a little bit different and there's guidance on table topics. So you need to provide that to the people who are going to fill those functionary roles. There's a lot of homework for you to do before you even conduct your first session. Wow, that's a lot to cover. And now we are finally getting to the Speechcraft portal. This is your login. But before you log in, you do have an opportunity to see what the Speechcraft is about. There are overview information that you can get without buying the bundle. I suggest you listen to this very important video that tells you about the Speechcraft experience and explains the portal and how it works. That's very important. Up here, if you click the overview, it will take you to overview. And it explains the overview. And for quick synopsis of Speechcraft content, here you go. It's going to take you to Toastmaster Speechcraft content, which I showed you can download from Toastmasters website, all at one shot from that resource page. Get all your information from resource so you're not spending extra time downloading material. Here's the coordinator. Again, this will take you to the Toastmasters website to buy it. The coordinator quick start guide and the participant quick start guide. I already told you to get that information from the store, so you're ahead of the game. This is an important webinar that you would have to watch. It's about 61 minutes long. But when you click on that, you have to register. You have to register and since I've already done it and I'm in my Speechcraft, it shows you when the date and time that I registered to watch that webinar. And therefore you would have to fill this form out to be able to watch that webinar. Oops. Did I lose my space? Toastmasters International. Okay, there we go. Then it tells you who would be interested in attending. And this is important to know, and this is going to help you decide how many sessions you're going to have. Let's suppose you want to do a Speechcraft webinar for your corporate executives, separate from your club. They don't have the time for an 8-week course. You will more likely do a 4-session course, a 4-week course. And you could work with them on picking out the topics that you want to cover. And then you would concentrate on the 4 most important topics with them. So this is going to determine your session. If it's someone that wants to become a Toastmaster or wants even more knowledge, then your 8 sessions going to be more the type of session that you would hold. But if it's someone that just wants an introduction to public speaking, you could hold the 4 session. Now I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to log in because I want to share with you or you can go to create an event. Let's see, I did click on the coordinator guide. I don't know why that came up. Okay, so it's going to take you to coordinator guide and it's going to give you the coordinator overview. And then it's going to outline for you how to quick start your preparation before the event is created, things I have gone over. And this is stuff you should have covered before you even come in to create your event. And I've covered that already. So we're going to go to create a new event. And this is real important. You must decide what you're going to name your event. because once you name it, you cannot change the name of the event. You can change the beginning date if you do it 1 to 2 weeks before, and you can change the end date. You can extend it if you do it 1 to 2 weeks before the end date. But once you name your event, that's the one thing you can't change. So be careful of your spelling and everything else, that it's spelled correctly. I tend to have a capital letter in the middle of mine. I'll show you what I mean. You don't need to put the club's URL if they have a free toast host or whatever. You don't need to know that. But this is why I want to emphasize that when you make the purchase, save that bundle order number. That is really important. You cannot activate your Speechcraft workshop without that bundle order number. So once you get confirmation and they give you a bundle order number, save that in a safe spot. Create yourself a Speechcraft portal or a Speechcraft folder on your computer and save it there, because you can't access the portal without it. And then they will ask you to verify your coordinator information here. And then you have to enter in the event details. See here, event name. It's really important that you name it what you want to call it. Mine was the Orally Speechcraft. Name it for your company if you want, or if it's for a special event. Speechcraft interviews, or interviews, Speechcraft for interviews, or whatever. You don't have to pick your date at this time. But if you are, you would click on this and provide the date and the time zone. But to get started, you don't have to pick your date yet, but you have to name it to be able, and you have to agree to the terms and condition. And once you hit that and submit it, then it will take you to your event page. And this is what I'm telling you about spelling. You see how my Speechcraft is? It's all in caps except for the S. You want to make sure. Then you will have to add your participants. And once this comes up, you'll see where you can add. Since I've already started mine and I have the participants, I really can't show you. This would be empty. It would tell you to add the person. You have to add them by name and email address. All right, and they will be added. You have to make sure they register for the event, because they will receive an email notice saying that they've been added. And they have to click on that link and register for the event to become a participant. And this will let you know if they've been registered or not. So there's some follow-up in the beginning as well. Then once you set that all up, it'll say, go to my Speechcraft Learning. And it's going to take to your Speechcraft portal in Basecamp. And it's going to look quite similar to what Pathways is. What I did was I've always clicked on the learning. You want a shortcut. When you click learning, what is here, these tabs are also in the learning tab. It says introduction, start here. That is for the coordinators to start here. And it's going to take you to a video of the Speechcraft coordinator. And it's going to take you to a video. The important thing to know is they're all slides or it's a video. This is a slide. It says start project, and you'll go through each of these. And if you click on this, it'll jump you to the introduction. What's important to know is every time you view a slide, there are resources over here in the upper right-hand corner. Do you see that? Download those resources and save them to your Speechcraft folder. You will need them for a reference later. You will find that helpful. I'm going to end this, and to exit out of the tabs that you are out of the tabs that you are in each of the Speechcraft portals is you just do that and it'll bring you back. It's going to bring you back to your past and learning page, similar to the Basecamp portal. This is for you, how to get started. Open the curriculum. This is your Speechcraft coordinator's introduction and your Speechcraft coordinator planning. You need to launch that. You have some learning to do before you even conduct the Speechcraft. That's why I said you need 3 to 4 weeks before you do your Speechcraft so that you can learn what you need to do to conduct the Speechcraft. It's the same thing as your Basecamp Path and Learning page. If you open up in Basecamp in Pathways, if you open up all the resources, when you go to the resource page for the evaluation forms and you come to your Path and Learning, you'll see it here with all your projects. Don't worry about having to mark it complete or not. It's just showing that you had activated it and if you want to mark it complete. So that's how to get started. Then, for each session, you have a guide as to what to present at that session. They guide you. And you launch that. And that is another slide presentation. And I'll hit restart. And again, Coordinator's Guide, Session 1, choose a topic. That's what your objective is. Choose a topic. Teaching them how to choose a topic to write a speech. Talks about your first session, and these are the 3 objectives. It walks you through the steps. You want to introduce the Speechcraft program. You want to develop speech topic selection skills and impromptu speaking. That's where table topics is introduced. And on this slide, on these here, it shows you and it tells you what you need to do with the table topics. Again, I'm not going through that, but here's your resources for session 1. As you see, they have a session 1 8 agenda, a session 1 6 agenda, and a session 1 agenda for 4 sessions. It gives you an outline and it's easy to follow. I recommend downloading all of them. They even have a blank template. This Speechcraft self-assessment before, what is that? Before the Speechcrafters can begin, they have a self-assessment that they need to do, and they do it online. What they're advising you to do here is to download it and print it as a PDF and be able to share it with the Speechcrafters in case someone has problem technically with accessing it on the Speechcraft portal. So that's the before. Now, remember I talked about educational presentations. Well, here's the outline for that presentation. As you see in session 1, there are 2. In each session, they will give you an outline for the educational presentation that needs to be given. Select the speech topic presentation outline and the value of improving public speaking. You give that to your 2 educational presenters. It gives them a guideline as to what Toastmasters is looking for the presenter to provide the Speechcrafters, what information. And then you go to the Better Speaker series and see what type of information they offer you for that. And then you formulate your presentation based on your research of the resources. And that's how any good presenter puts together the material for a presentation. And that's how it is done, because in Toastmasters, what is this? Let me go this. Better Speak Universal. Okay, so let me move this. So and you would have to go through each of these. I recommend in the beginning, if you have the time, download all 8 sessions. Take the time to go through the sessions and know what you need to know. If you don't, at least download the first 3 to begin with. Go through those lessons and learn what you need to know, and then work ahead until you have all of them. You need to be prepared for each session ahead of you. And then you have videos as a Speechcraft. Getting started on Basecamp as a Speechcraft coordinator, it walks you through the step on how to work the Basecamp here in Speechcraft. And it gives you an overview. It's a video. You have written information, and then you have a video that explains everything. So far, so good, because that is a lot of information. Now, similar to Pathways as the Basecamp manager, you will notice this is the same setup. You have a view teams here. If you go to the Paths and Learning and Pathways Basecamp, it brings you to this page. When you hit view teams, it lets you see the same as in Pathways. When you can see each member, you can click on each person and see if they've done the work that they're supposed to. The same as Pathways. It only shows what's active. Since my Speechcraft work sessions have been completed in May, to show you what I'm talking about, I have to go to the completed drop-down menu. And you want to click on coordinator tracking. Now this will tell you completed. If they didn't do their self-assessment, it will tell you that it needs to be activated, just like in Pathways. If they opened it and viewed it, this will say launch, and this will say in progress. The coordinator tracking, that's where you want to go. And then it'll say speech tracking, and you want to view the details. And this will tell you whether or not they've come into their own Basecamp and did the necessary steps to mark that they've completed a speech project. It's a little bit different than in Pathways. Sometimes you don't know whether a member completed it or not because they may have done a speech at another club or something like that. But in this case, they're going to do their speeches in your Speechcraft sessions, so you will know. And you want to make sure that you tell them that after they give their speech, they must come into their Basecamp portal and mark the project complete. You need to come here and verify that they did that. And once you do that, log out of the Basecamp portal, just like you would in Pathways, on this cogwheel or the setting symbol, and hit log out. It's not going to log you out of the portal, it's just going to log you out of Basecamp for them. And I may have gone an extra step that I didn't have to. You may have been able to go back to learning, I'm not sure. But this is the one important step as the Speechcrafter coordinator you must do. You must validate their speeches were completed, because that is the way Toastmasters International is going to know that they've completed their projects. And this is the screen you're going to get. Just put in the date of your meeting and the completion time. And then what you need to do is to search an existing training. And then you'll get this pop-up over here on the right. Let's say they did their icebreaker. All you have to do is type in icebreaker. You have to type in the topic that was covered for their speech. And you see, you get an automatic pop-up and you hit material. Then the screen changes and it says Speechcraft icebreaker and the date's there. But now you have to add the attendees. So you have to hit next. And they're going to tell you to add the attendees. And you add the attendees there. And everyone, all 5 of your Speechcrafters will show up. and you just hit select. I think there's a select all, but I don't see it. Right. There might be a select all. All right. And then what you would do, you would hit save. And once you hit save, the new screen's going to show you this. And you can do a bulk record. If you select all, you can do a bulk record and it will record everyone as having completed that. The next screen will come up and you will have to mark that they completed it. So if you hit bulk score, then the next screen will come up and then you mark record. If I deselect all, and let's say I just select the first one and I hit record, this is the result. This is what you're going to have to mark. And I don't score, I just say that they completed. So that's the screen you would see. It's real important that you validate each speech that they completed. Otherwise, they will not get credit from Toastmasters organization when they go to join another club. That's the way TI knows that they completed it. And down at the, all right, so that's that. Let's go back to learning. Session 8 overview. All right, we're going to have to go back to home. Your dashboard. I showed how you can check individually if they've done their homework or the lessons. What I was concerned about in the beginning is the Speechcraft assessment. And I could tell whether they did their before assessment before we met. It's important that they complete the before assessment before your first meeting. It's only something they receive and you as the coordinator receive. And it's basically a survey asking them how they feel about their ability with public speaking. Then at your midway point of your session, they are to do another self-assessment. And this one, naturally, is supposed to say that they've improved. It reminds me of the self-assessments that we do in Pathways, before and after each of our projects. And we have to do the after, so that Pathways, so that Basecamp knows the project is done and we get a check mark. In this case, they don't have to do the after assessment to get the check mark. Because as you will see here, if I refresh the after assessment, I think there's one or two that didn't do the after assessment and their projects are marked complete. And it's the same thing as the dashboard in Pathways. It's the same thing. Yes, I only had one in this group that did the after assessment. The others didn't do it. Even though they were told several times, reminded several times. All right. And then this tells you how far they're doing on their learning and progress. And this tells you their speech completion. This tells you that they marked their speeches completed in their Basecamp portal. And it tells you the projects that they completed. And that's what's important. That they completed all their speeches. You know. Okay. So we're going to go out of that and go home. There's something else I want to show you. All your session resources are here in one place too. If you don't want to, you can open your sessions here as well. If in the beginning you just want to download everything at once, it gives you all the resources here, all in one slot as well. And as you can see, the agendas are posted there. They give you multiple places in which to retrieve the information. Decide where you want to get it from and continue with that method, because otherwise it can get confusing. There's one other thing I want to show you, and it is in this, when you do the speech validation, I want to go to the learning. I want to go in here. I haven't gone in here yet, so that's why I want to show you. Again, all the sessions are here in the overview. I want to go to view teams. Again, once you've completed your Speechcraft session, workshop, every member who participated, every participant receives a certificate for participating in the Speechcraft workshop. That doesn't mean that they had to complete every project. If they attended a workshop and completed 2, 3 speeches, even if they only completed 1, they get a certificate saying they were a Speechcraft participant. Speechcraft learning, and I want to go to complete it. Again, we're in the person's individual base camp portal. All the way down at the bottom. This is when you don't go to the coordinator tracking. You remain in the individual Speechcraft portal, as you can see. Their learning, pass and learning page type of thing, and all the way down at the bottom, it'll say activate Speechcraft certificate. You activate it and you launch it. And then the Speechcrafter can get their certificate. They can download it themselves because it had been activated, and you activated it and you told Toastmasters International, they complete it. And all it says, it gives the person's name, recognition, became a certified Speechcrafter. Doesn't mean they completed everything. The other thing you can do with this is you can download it and do a presentation meeting with them and present them with their certificates to make it fun for them. So now we're going back to home, and I'm going to log out of their portal. And it's going to bring me back to my home page. And there's a frequently asked questions page here as well. I'm going to sign out of the portal. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So that's the details behind the portal. And make it easy for yourself and choose one area in which you want to retrieve your information. The first time I went in, where'd I go to get this information? And I was confused. So I decided I was going to break it down and make it simple to save other people who may think like me and not have to go through all that. It's a wonderful experience. I love doing it, and I think it's the best thing going. So if you would willing to hang on for a couple of minutes so I could put those handouts in chat for you, I would appreciate it. And that way you can have them. And I will double check to see that I've provided, or you probably will get an email from me, making sure that you have all the handouts. Does anybody have any questions at this point? If not, then what I'll do is I'm just going to put this stuff in there. And please feel free to download it. There we go. Yeah. And download those documents. If you have any questions, you all have my email address. I emailed you all. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions or anything that has happened in the past. I've helped one of the participants to kick off her Speechcraft session. I'm here to help you. I'm here to share my knowledge. And that video, I hope you find was very helpful and useful to you. And I want to hear your success story. I want to hear back from you about your success story, about your Speechcraft program that you ran. And have a free seminar. Don't call it an open house. Open house. We don't sell real estate. We teach. Let's make it a free seminar, like Cheryl says. And you'd be surprised at maybe how many more guests you would get by calling it a free seminar. And then that's when you present your Speechcraft sales pitch to your visitors. I hope I was helpful. It is a pleasure to share this knowledge with everyone, and I am here if you have any questions. And I appreciate you all coming tonight. And have a wonderful night. Good night, everyone.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much. Very helpful. Thank you.